Hey, what's up, y'all? Thanks for checking me out. I'm back again with another movie review. Today I'll be talking about the brand new movie, Replicas. This movie is directed by Jeffrey Nachmanoff. It stars Keanu Reeves. He plays Will Foster, a scientist attempting to perfect this new technology of transferring a human mind into that of a robotic body. His wife is played by Alice Eve. Her name is Mona Foster. John Ortiz plays the character Jones. He is the head of this research agency that Will Foster works for. And Thomas Middleditch plays Ed. He is a scientist at the research agency also, and he is a friend of Will Foster's. So this movie starts us out with Will Foster attempting to transfer the mind of a dead police officer into that of a robotic body. For some reason, the body rejects it and the mind rejects it as well, and the robotic body begins to self-mutilate itself and rip its face off and things like that. They do not understand why this is happening, but it's attempt and fail number 345. Now, as we follow Will Foster's home, we're introduced to his wife and 3 kids, and this is where I feel like the movie had its first shortcoming. We're not really given any character development or anything to make you care about these individuals. They're a pretty prototypical family. I mean, the youngest daughter, she's just being really cute and drawing things and making really cute comments. The middle son, he's pretty much obsessed with his video game. And the eldest daughter, she's obsessed with her phone. And the wife is a prototypical wife. Like I said, they don't really give you any sort of development or anything to make you care about them at all. One night, the whole family's in a car and they're on the drive on the freeway, and it's raining like crazy. The wife even tells Will Foster, hey, we should pull over because it's debris hitting the windshield, it's rain everywhere, and we can't see. With a blank stare, he just looks at her like she didn't say anything, and immediately 3 seconds later, the car flips over and they get into a crash. Now, the car lands in a pond, and the wife and 3 kids are killed. Now, instead of calling the police or the ambulance for some reason, Will Foster called his friend Ed, and he tells Ed bring him the equipment from the science lab. Well, Ed brings the equipment, and they begin to download the consciousness and minds of his wife and 3 kids onto these data files, basically saving all their mind, their memories, and things like that. He takes his wife and 3 kids' dead bodies back to the research lab where he gets DNA samples from all the bodies, and then they begin the cloning process. Now, he gets DNA samples from all 4 of his family members, but there's only one problem. They want to clone them, and there's only 3 pods and 4 bodies. So he has to decide which one of his wife and 3 kids is not going to come back. A decision is made that Zoe, the youngest daughter, is not going to come back. So what does he do? Our main character, Will Foster, goes into the consciousness and minds of his wife and his kids and begins to delete any memory of the daughter, Zoe. It is some pretty messed up stuff, but he does it to try to cover his ass. They take the pods home, and 17 days later, the wife and the 2 kids emerge. They don't have any defects. There's nothing really wrong with them. They hint at something being wrong with their minds. You know, it's little flashes of them just having blank stares or not really acting like themselves, just standing there sort of looking like empty vessels. But they really didn't elaborate on this. I mean, within a couple of scenes, they were perfectly fine, back to normal, living their lives like nothing really happened. Now, back at the lab, we have a secret. Because Jones, the head of the research lab, he knew all along what was going on. He caught Ed, Will Foster's best friend, in the process of trying to get rid of the bodies. So he knew that Ed and Will Foster had stolen the equipment, but he wanted to see how far Will Foster would go because he was desperate. And he knows that a desperate man will do anything. So he basically let Will Foster go through it, the whole cloning process and transferring of minds, because he wanted to capitalize on all of that. That technology could basically change the world. Any rich billionaire who was close to death could just transfer his mind into a younger, brand new body. I mean, of course, that would just change the world. So that's why Jones let Will Foster go through with all that. But he wanted the bodies because he needed the algorithm. The algorithm that basically allows you to do this whole process. It's a certain code you gotta have. It's a certain way you gotta do this whole process. The only person that knew it was Will Foster. So that's what Jones wanted. And so he went there and tried to kidnap the wife and kids because he felt like they were lab experiments and they were his property. And they gave us a little chase, a car chase scene, but Jones and his guards were able to catch the wife and kids very quickly. Now, at the end of this movie, we get a little convoluted with the story. We have the character Jones back at the research lab. He's holding hostage the wife and kids to Will Foster, and he's telling him, if you don't give me the code or the algorithm to do this transcendent process on my own, making me the richest man in the world, then I'm gonna kill your wife and kids. Will Foster agrees to upload the algorithm into the computer for Jones, but instead of doing this, he actually uploads his own consciousness into that of a bionic body. Now that he had a bionic body, he came out and was able to defeat the guards and kill Jones. But as Jones lay there on the ground dying, he made him a deal. Hey, I can bring you back. I can put you in a bionic body, but you have to leave me and my wife and kids alone, and we have to disappear. And that's what Jones agrees to do. But it's a catch. The bionic body that Will Foster transferred his mind into is actually running the company now. So as we end the movie, they have a client, an old guy, Saudi Arabian guy worth billions, walking to the office, and they say, you know, hey, Mr. Will Foster, are you ready to start the process? And as Will Foster turns around, you see it's that bionic body or that person that he transferred his mind into, basically running the company now. So you see what I mean? The story gets a little convoluted at the end, but when you see it, I guess it makes sense in the theater. So I have mixed feelings about this movie. It seemed like it was filled with bad acting, rushed storylines, and just completely nonsense dialogue at some points. I do understand the subject matter that they're tackling, and I feel like we need more movies about it. So I want to support the ideas that they're trying to portray in this movie, but I feel like they just rushed it. It seems like they wanted to film this movie in 30 days and just get it over with. And that leaves you with a movie that's empty. Now, there are points in times where the acting is just bad. And I mean, Keanu Reeves is Bruce Willis bad in this movie. At some points, there are some points when he shows up to the set, I guess, in a better mood, and his acting is great and you actually get invested in it. But then literally like the next scene, he goes back into that dead Bruce Willis character. Now, the ideas and the science behind it is intriguing. It will captivate you in the sense of thinking about the future and the future's technologies that we can look forward to. So I like the innovativeness and creativeness that they chose to portray in this movie. But at the same time, the acting is so bad that it takes you out of it. If you're a Keanu Reeves diehard fan, you probably will give this like a 7. But if you're like me, just I want to see good movies, then I give this about a 5. I like the subject matter, that's why I ain't gonna go lower than a 5, but I think the way that they did it was rushed and the acting was bad, so I have to call it like I see it. Now, even though I wasn't in love with this movie, I wouldn't mind if they even made a sequel, sort of tidy up some of those loose ends, show me a world with this bionic, people in it. If you want me to make another video on how I would portray this new world or a sequel to this movie, let me know in the comment section below. And if you disagree with me on this movie and you actually was liking it, let me know what you liked about it and where I was wrong. Anyway, other than that, y'all, I'll catch your ass out there in this universe. Peace.
And I'll go on
I love you.
forever.
I didn't defy every natural law there is just to lose you again.